Hello there. Good evening. I hope you're all well. So this is going to be a rambly video, to say the least. So let me just take a preemptive, I guess, swig of water. It's a Coca-Cola bottle, but, you know, I like keeping it ghetto. What can I say? So, oh, by the way, this, as I said, is going to be a rambly video. I'm going to be speaking extemporaneously throughout the whole thing. No bullet points or anything. There you go. There's my monitor setup. And that's what I'm working with. There. Good. Perfect. Nice. Gotta be careful not to do this thing, you know, given the subject matter of this video. So, an old tweet of mine from March 2015 surfaced today. And in that tweet, I said, fuck N-words, you know. Not verbatim, you know, I said the actual thing. I said the big oopsie. Somehow I never got banned for that. Nothing ever came of it until now. I totally forgot I even tweeted that. I had no fucking idea. Looking back at it, I'm just kind of like, you know, even considering that I was an edgy, fucking dumb teenager at the time, I should have known better. Evidently I didn't. So this is going to be a video where I'm just like addressing this head on. No script, no editing, no bullet points, no bullshit, just like, here's what I think, here's my point of view, here's me responding to this as maturely as I can. You know, I'm still immature, I'm still edgy, I'm still arrogant, I can be insensitive, but when it comes to like using that kind of language, I try to be more considerate and courteous to other people. And it's not because like, you know, PC culture, it's just because like there's really no benefit for me. There's nothing to be gained in saying shit like that. And the reason I said it back then, the thing that I gained from it was amusement. As someone who found that shit funny, because, you know, it was just like this, like the most offensive thing that I could think of to say. And I'll explain the context. It wasn't just like an impromptu thing where I just tweeted that, like, hey, here's what I like. It wasn't this sincere opinion of mine. So I'll provide the context. So I tweeted something to the effect of, just tried chocolate with chili. I advise any person who comes across this abomination to avoid it at all cost. It will fuck up your digestion. Something along those lines is what I said. And a friend of mine at that time tweeted at me and was like, you know, what's the brand called? Now, again, being edgy and stupid, I looked at that and I was like, this is a fucking prime opportunity to just call it something just totally out there. So I was just kind of like, okay, well, what's the most fucked up thing that I could, like, what would be the most insane and offensive name you could assign to a brand? Like, what possible title could I give this that would just be, like, way out there and just, you know, piss people off? And so I tweeted, you know, fuck N-words, because I was like, that's what it's called, lol. So, that's what I did. And now, fucking 6 years later, it has resurfaced, and, you know, understandably, some people are pissed off about it. So, might as well do this video, just talking about it, and apologize for it. And I'll get to that in just a second. Hold on. So, here's the thing. A lot of the time when people apologize for shit like this, it can come off, and more often than not, it comes off insincere and just like, oh, this person is just covering their ass. They're just concerned with their public image, because, you know, they're a content creator, they're a public figure of some type, and so this is just them saying this. And by the way, like, I'm obviously exhausted. It's fucking like 7:30. I spent all night at my neighbor's place watching The Last Jedi, drinking beers and eating chili nuts, so, and smoking a lot of cigarettes too, so I am dehydrated and tired, to say the fucking least. So pardon my, my tired my tiredness throughout this video. I'm gonna do my best to just enunciate properly and not skim over any details. I'll just explain this to the best of my abilities in this moment, because really, like, making like a highly polished and edited and just, you know, pre-planned video addressing this, to me, that doesn't seem sincere at all. The best course of action, in my view, which, you know, as far as, like, you know, my career goes, I think, like, the best course of action there objectively would be to just, like, take down any fucking evidence I can find, pay people off if I can, and, you know, take down a bunch of videos and shit, and just, like, leave it at that, and just have it be this weird spot in my internet career, I guess you would call it. But I don't feel like doing that. I feel like the more appropriate and responsible thing to do, considering that actually, like, some people have been hurt by this, would be to just do what I'm doing now. Just responding to it, addressing it, as I'm doing. So that was the context for it. So this wasn't like something that I tweeted sincerely, like, this is what I believe, and why, like, it wasn't some shit like that. This is something that I said because I found shit like this amusing when I was younger. Not so much anymore, really. I do still find occasional edgy jokes funny, but I mean, you can only say offensive shit so many times before eventually it just gets tiresome and you realize that it's not really that fucking funny. Secondly, and I think more importantly, what I noticed, and this is something that I gradually noticed more and more throughout like 2016 to 2018 or 2019. Back, as a lot of you recall, there was like a big anti-SJW movement on YouTube. Looking back at it now, it was pretty fucking cringy. You would have a lot of people responding or like covering videos of like, here's this crazy blue-haired SJW saying this radical leftist shit. You know, what a lol cow. Let's make fun of that person. And so a lot of the people who made those kind of videos, they slowly but surely grifted towards not just conservatism, but the far right. Now, I never did that. What I did was tell fucking offensive jokes because I found them to be funny, and so did friends of mine, and so did some of my audience members. But, you know, I'm not at that point in my life anymore. I'm fucking 24. I'm gonna be 25 in September. Like, it's... You have to move on from shit like this eventually. And it's not because of, like, you know, PC culture. Because, I mean, like, you know, PC culture still existed back then. So... it wasn't that. It was just like me not finding that shit offensive anymore, and as I said, there was nothing for me to gain from saying shit like this. And as I was saying, I noticed that slowly but surely I was amassing like a subcategory of viewers in my audience who were like either far right or going down that pipeline. And as I kept seeing this shit happen, it befuddled me, because, like, I'm not that. Like, every political test I've ever taken, every in-depth conversation about society and politics and social issues that I've had with any person has, you know, shown me that I'm pretty fucking left-leaning. You know, I'm basically like a libertarian leftist. Like, I'm heavily anti-authoritarian. My ideal society would be one with, like, a lot of social safety nets, but when it comes to, like, social issues, you're left the fuck alone for the most part, unless it's, like, you know, unless, like, you're diddling some kids or something. Like, at that point, you know, the government should obviously step in, but failing anything heavy like that, if it's just, like, you know, like, hey, I'm gay and I like being gay, then it's like, alright, cool. A-okay. Good job. Proud of you. And so it's like heavily egalitarian in my view. That would be like an ideal society. Egalitarian and secular. Which doesn't jive well with Nazi ideology for some fucking reason. You know, like they're heavily into like ultra-conservative Christianity, authoritarianism, homophobia, transphobia, racism, all kinds of shades of bigotry. And none of that sits well with me. So amassing an audience, or like at least like, you know, following on places like Twitter of, you know, with people like that, it caused me a lot of concern. Initially, I was just kind of like, well, you know, I have like thousands of people who follow me. Odds are at least like a few of them are going to have some crazy ideas, you know, as fucking vile as they may be. Whatever. Shit happens. But shit kept fucking happening, and I reflected on that, and it occurred to me that it was tied to a lot of the humor that I was putting out there. You know? Sorry, again, I ate some chili nuts, and my mouth is, like, dry as hell. Love water. So that happened. And, okay, I guess I'll get into this, too, because this is a good example. So, there's a website called oneangrygamer.com, and it's a gaming news site with a heavy, like, far-right perspective. A lot of dog whistling goes on there. Sometimes it's not even dog whistling. Sometimes it's, like, actual, like, white supremacist talking points, like, you know, like, red-haired people will be extinct, and this is a cause for concern because they, you know, shit like that. It's basically just, like, a nod towards, you know, like, the great replacement conspiracy theory. And one of the articles that they have on there was covering a video that I put out in 2020, where I talked about how hackers in Red Dead Online are getting worse. So One Angry Gamer puts out this article, and I was oblivious to what their site actually was up until that point. I had heard of them. I had heard that they were kind of like a Gamergate-y kind of thing with a conservative bent, but I had no fucking idea how far they took it. So I found this article because, being the, you know, Z-list e-celeb egomaniac I am, I, you know, occasionally Google my name and look at articles and shit. Because why not? You know, occasionally I'll get, like, a boost in views, and it's a good idea to, like, see where that view count comes from. And in this case, it came from oneangrygamer.com. They made an article about my video. I just kind of skimmed through it, and I clicked on, like, you know, like, the latest articles or whatever the tab is. I haven't been on there in fucking years, but I checked out some other articles, and it only took, like, a couple minutes before I came across some, like, serious fucking Nazi dog whistling. So, fast forward to the BLM protests of 2020. Following the death of George Floyd, BLM saw a huge boost in support, and a lot of companies took it upon themselves to virtue signal, Rockstar Games included. You know, like, they didn't actually do much for the cause. They didn't really give much of a fuck about it, but it was a big deal. And because it was, like, this relevant thing, and because, you know, for a lot of the people who handle PR at places like Rockstar Games, it may seem like a good idea to stand in solidarity with, you know, a civil rights movement. They did that, or at least, like, that's what I think they wanted you to believe. I think that, okay, so I'll explain what happened. So, they temporarily shut down Red Dead Online and GTA Online for a couple hours, and they claimed to do this in solidarity with BLM, which might have been the case, but knowing the nature of giant fucking corporations, especially greedy ones, it seemed more likely to me that this was them doing some server maintenance, because they were doing a lot of that at the time. They were having all kinds of technical issues, and they probably still are. And temporarily shutting down your services to do some server maintenance can piss a lot of people off, especially people who, like, you know, actively play your game. You don't want to piss those people off. So what I think they did was do that, but under the auspices of being like, hey, you know, we side with BLM, and this is our way of, like, signaling that. I don't know. Like, there's no way for me to prove that. Maybe I'm just being a bit too cynical, but I feel like that was the case. So I covered this in a broadcast that I did on my YouTube channel. And at that point, like, somebody in the chat asked me, Swegta, do Black Lives Matter? You know, obviously asking me, like, how do I feel about BLM? To which I responded, well, yeah, fucking of course they do. And this pissed some people off in my audience. Some people actually got upset about this. They were like, you know, what's this, like, feminist, libcuck, soy, degenerate shit? It's like, okay, so me just, like, saying that Black Lives Matter is, like, enough to piss people off. Okay, well, they can fuck right off. There's really no benefit in keeping those people around. The only thing that I can imagine would be, like, monetarily, which is, like, the way, like, a lot of these anti-SJW YouTubers saw things. A lot of them appealed to the far right and conservatives in general more and more and more, to the extent that now a lot of them have been kicked off YouTube and they're on websites like BitChute making videos about, like, the Jewish question and shit. So I noticed, like, a lot of those people amassing followings of people who, like, you know, actually believe that shit, who would, you know, donate to them. Because, I mean, like, Nazis, just like anyone else, have money. So, like, if you can tap into that market, which most people don't want to do, you could make quite a lot of money. I could have done that. Or at the very least, I could have looked the other way and just been like, well, you know, if they want to infer whatever they want to infer from my videos, like, I'm, you know, basically a leftist, but if I say that society sucks and they hear that and they think, oh yeah, society sucks because of the Jews, you know, like, that's on them. That's not fucking, like, my doing. Well, in a way, it kind of is. If I keep making certain comments, even if they are jokes, even if they are totally exaggerated and whatever, like, hyperbolic statements that are obviously not supposed to be taken fucking seriously, there are still going to be people who look at that and say, oh, he's based, you know, he's like one of us. No, I'm not. Fuck you. Fuck your movement. Fuck off. I'm not interested. And that's what I told one angry gamer when this BLM shit happened, because they put up this page of traitors of America. Like, any like, internet personality or video game company or tech company that said anything even remotely positive about BLM was, like, put on this list. I know Legacy Killer HD was put on that fucking list. And when I noticed that, I remember, like, wait, hold on, they made an article about me, you know, and they recommended one of my videos, they follow me and shit, so here's, like, a golden opportunity to just, like, tell them to suck a dick. So I did that. I told them, like, hey, you know, you made this article about one of my videos, you obviously watch me, you follow me, so I'm just letting you know, you might as well add me to that list too, because you know, I went on your website, and it didn't take long before I came across a bunch of Nazi shit. Surprisingly, they actually pleaded with me. They attempted to convince me, like, they actually approached me without any acrimony at all. They were just kind of like, you know, please, just try to be understanding. America's hurting. You know, we need to stand together. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to side with a bunch of fucking bigots, okay? Fuck you. Not interested. They never added me to that page, by the way, which I resent. I think that they should have done that. That would have been cool. I like being a traitor, you know? Not specifically to America, just, like, to, like, any fucking society in general. I don't like nationalism or patriotism, jingoism, whatever you want to call it. I don't like that shit. I'm not an American. Some people mistake me for one. Some people think that I'm Canadian, which I'm not either. I'm Swedish. But yeah, like, nationalism, xenophobia, jingoism, patriotism, it's all the same to me. I mean, like, you know, it's varying degrees. Some people are just patriots, and that's it, you know. Have fun with that. I personally think that it's a fucking waste of time, but if you do that, if you don't espouse anything hateful or anything like that, if you don't side with a bunch of neo-Nazis, fine. Just, I'm from Kentucky. I'm proud of that. Okay. You didn't do anything, but alright. Have fun with that. So I just, like, I like the idea of being added to a list where, like, I'm a traitor. as if like, all of these companies and all of these people owed like allegiance to America for just like being born there. It's fucking stupid. But yeah, so like I told one angry gamer to fuck off, and again, like I could have looked the other way. I could have just cashed in on this because they did give me a boost in views. I could have actually like contacted them and arranged something where, like they keep covering my videos on occasion, and in return they have shit to easily make articles about. I feed them information, they get me some views. Shit like that happens more often than you think when it comes to like, YouTubers and journos. I didn't do that. Because at that point, I had noticed there was like a growing, almost like sect in my audience of people who were far right. Not just conservative, but actual like far right people. And it doesn't sit well with me. It bothers me to this day. So seeing this tweet resurface, my concern is not just like, oh, what are people going to think about me? My concern is also, fuck, here we go again. Like, this is just going to add to this thing that I've been trying to fucking get rid of for years. So, I don't really know what to do. Like, occasionally I'll tweet something lefty on Twitter, where, I'll condemn cops abusing people. Apparently that's a leftist thing now. Or, I'll talk about like how, it'd be cool for like GTA 5 to have like a female protagonist or something. Like just some mild fucking, really should be inoffensive shit like that. And occasionally people will just be like, oh, so you're just like this crazy radical leftist, swag. That's a pretty fucking low bar, but okay, fine. I guess I am that. Again, libertarian left, but I don't know. Whatever. So, I've been trying to shake those people for a while, and I feel like this is just gonna exacerbate things, because, shit like this spreads fairly quickly, especially in tight-knit communities like this one, and I do believe, I haven't talked about this in a video, I've actually considered making a video on this. There is a far-right problem in the Rockstar Games community. Maybe I'll do a video on that, maybe not. It's not, like, super prevalent, but it's there to the extent that, like, in certain small mini communities within this community, a lot of people congregate there, and it just, like, spreads like wildfire. Like, they'll radicalize people. And it's off-putting because it's something that we've seen happen a lot on a larger scale on YouTube, like the alt-right pipeline, which is an actual fucking thing. Maybe not so much anymore, but it's still there. You still have hundreds of thousands of people who've fallen for this shit. And if that's happening in my audience or in the community that I adhere to, then that's a cause for concern for me, at least. So I guess I'll talk a bit about my apology, because I said I was going to apologize. So, to the people that I've genuinely hurt by saying shit like this, I'm sorry. I really am. I apologize. And I don't apologize to cover my ass, because I think like an easier course of action for me would have been to just like take down any evidence of this, pay people off if I have to, take down a bunch of like videos where like I've said the N-word in the past, which like they're up on my channel still, by the way. You can find those. I think in my speedrun, like there's somebody who donates to me or comments in the chat or subscribes or something, and they have the N-word in their name, and I just read it, just like, oh, hello. Back then, it wasn't that big of a deal to me. Like, initially, I said it because, like, it was, like, a funny thing that you could say hyperbole for, like, shock value, and your fucking edgy friends, and they would laugh at it. Some of your audience members would be like, whoa, whoa, you're crazy there. Why would you say that, lol? And, when it came to, like, people being actually offended and hurt by that, to me, that was just kind of like, whatever, like, collateral damage. Who gives a fuck? It happens. There's always going to be somebody being offended by something you say. While that's true, is it really fucking, like, necessary to, like, hurt people without any good reason? Like, it's one thing if I'm having an argument with some idiot on the internet, and I'm like, hey, you're a fucking moron. And that, hurts that person's feelings. I mean, like, at least, like, then there's some reason I can provide where it's like, okay, well, they piss me off because they're fucking stupid. That seems reasonable to me. But what doesn't seem reasonable to me as someone who's, like, getting close to being fucking 25 at this point is hurting people without any valid reason. Just, like, using language, disregarding any basic level of courtesy for another human being, just, like, being a prick for really no justifiable reason. I don't know, like, the older I get, the more I'm just turned off by people who do shit like that. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I cringe at shit that I've said in the past. I cringe at the fucking humor that I used to have. I still have an edgy sense of humor. I still, am an obnoxious, arrogant prick. But I try to, like, keep it more within the vicinity of, like, entertainment. So, like, I'll be rude to someone, but it's, like, exaggerated. And if it's not exaggerated, it's because, like, I genuinely fucking feel that way. It's because I genuinely don't like that person. And it has fuck all to do with race or anything like that. I don't think that it makes a whole lot of sense for me to continue making those kind of, like, comments that I made back in 2015 and 2016 and whenever else, because I don't find it fucking funny anymore. And even if it was funny, I'm just hurting people for no fucking discernible good reason. Do I want to do that? Is that who I want to be? No. And I don't want to be the type of person who just uploads a heavily polished and edited video where, like, I get on camera and I'm just kind of like, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't want to do that, because that's not fucking me. The type of person I am is the type of person who just, like, makes a video addressing it. And I'm not gonna fucking hide a bunch of shit. I did hide some tweets that people posted about this because I wanted to fucking record this video on my own account without having in the back of my mind, like, the fact that people are seeing this and more people are just, like, judging me over my past actions, which, as I'm sitting here saying it now, just maybe that's fair game. Maybe that should happen. I don't know. What I do know is that this video is totally sincere, and I guess, like, the best way that I could prove that would be to point out that, again, those videos where, like, I've said shit like this, they're still up. You can find them on my channel. They're out there. And if I wanted to, like, scrub the internet of this shit, which, I could attempt, I think ultimately it would be an exercise in futility. Somebody somewhere would have, like, an archive of this shit. But, as far as, like, my image goes, I mean, like, I could save a lot of face by, again, paying people off, removing tweets, DMCAing re-uploads and shit like that. But I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to make this video explaining my point of view, and, again, forgive the fact that it's rambly. I'm doing my best to enunciate and all that. Being tired and not having anything prepared, it takes a lot out of you, especially when you talk about something heavy like this. So, again, I apologize to the people I've actually hurt. When it comes to, like, the people who are offended in the sense that, like, they found something to hold against me, I don't have fucking, like, anything to say to those people, really. Like, what could I possibly say that would change their minds? Like, there's nothing that I could do. The only thing that I could do is just, like, double down and be like, I meant it, which, I don't. So there's, like, no reason for me to do that. And there's no reason for me to apologize to those people because, again, like, I'm apologizing to the people I've actually hurt. If you're just someone looking for drama, then, I mean, you found it, I guess. Have fun. But I'm not concerned about what you think of me. I'm really not. And I know there are going to be people, too, who feel like I shouldn't apologize for this. You know, and to those people, I'm just gonna say, like, okay, well, if you don't feel like I should apologize, that's one thing. I fucking disagree. I think I should. I think that's the decent thing to do. But if you're, like, offended by me apologizing to people being offended by this, then, I mean, like, doesn't that kind of, like, that makes you the fucking crybaby at that point. It's like, oh, you know, somebody's apologizing for being a dick. You shouldn't do that. That offends me. Okay, well, so be it. Another point of view that I had, like, opinion on shit like this that I had when I was younger, when I made this tweet, was that offense is not given, it's taken. Like, you decide, you choose to be offended by something, which may be true for the most part, but there are a lot of people out there who have faced racism, who have faced, you know, like, homophobia and shit, where like, somebody will say something offensive just to, like, be offensive. Whereas, you know, like, I would say something offensive to be offensive because it's funny. But a lot of people say that shit because, like, they actually want to hurt other people's feelings. Sorry. And I don't want to be grouped in with those people. Furthermore, I don't want to do the kind of harm that they do. And as far as, like, you know, people taking offense goes, no, like, I think a lot of the time when people are offended by shit like this, it's not them looking for attention or feeling like you owe them something. It's them having dealt with this prior, and now that it comes up again, even if it's just like a modicum of the shit they've had to put up with, it still fucking gets to them on some level because it's instinctive. It's like, oh shit, this again. This doesn't feel good. I don't like this. You know, and so they express that, and upon expressing it, it's like, oh, shut up, crybaby. Well, no, like, would the fucking decent thing not be to just, like, at least listen to what they have to fucking say? Which I'm hoping people are going to do with this video. Given the immense length of this video already, I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Maybe making a heavily edited video would be a better way to, like, quickly get my points across, but I don't feel like that's a sincere approach to tackling this topic. So let's see, what else? What else? Fuck. I'm totally scatterbrained. Again, it's 8 a.m. now, so whoopee. Let's see. Bear with me. My brain is, like, stalling right now. Quit stalling. Where are your papers? Yeah, I guess that's about it. Unless there's anything else. I don't know. The only thing that I can think about right now is the fact that I can't think of anything else. I'll elaborate a bit more on, like, why I've changed my point of view on this. I've done so because, again, it's not just the fact that it's not funny anymore. As I said, you can only say, you know, like, shit like the N-word so many times before eventually it's like, okay, now it's just, yeah, we've done that, been there. It was kind of funny the first, like, 50 times, now it's just, eh. And on top of that, like, I'm in my mid-20s. Like, what am I gonna do? Fucking, like, you know, in perpetuity piss people off for attention just for the lulz? I mean, it's not funny, and even if it was, it's kind of fucking embarrassing to continue doing that shit as far as, like, you know, my age goes. And just to be clear, like, being a teenager doesn't excuse it. Like, I was 18. I was fucking old enough to join the army and drive. Actually, like, this is a total fucking tangent, but, quick aside, I got, like, a letter or something from the government when I turned, like, 20 or something like that, where, like, they said that I'm now too old to join the army. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if, like, I remember that correctly. But yeah, like, they you know, go figure. Like, armies, they want, like, young blood Because, young people are way easier to, like, basically indoctrinate into becoming, like, trained killers. Support the troops, by the way. Love the troops. Yeah, so being young and stupid and edgy doesn't excuse it. Like, you're still hurting people's feelings for no good reason. So, that's why I apologize. And I'm hoping that this video is gonna, like, get the point across. If it doesn't, if it just ends up exacerbating this whole situation I'm now in, then I don't know, like, it feels good that I at least, like, got this shit off my chest and just, like, spoke my mind about it. Which, maybe looking back at this, I'll just be like, oh, well, fuck, in hindsight, I shouldn't have done that. I should have just looked the other way and just, like, not addressed this at all. But as it stands, the way I feel about it now, and the way I think I'm going to continue feeling about this going forward, it's better to be honest and open about it than to, approach this like it's a PR disaster, because it's a bit more than that. It's not just like, oh, you said something bad about Pepsi, and now, people who like Pepsi are mad at you. It's like, no, I said something genuinely fucked up. And although there's context to it, and although I said it when I was young and fucking dumb, and now I'm, old and ever so slightly less dumb, it doesn't change the fact that I fucking said it. So, my bad. I apologize. I'm sorry. But, like, if somebody hears me apologize for it, and they know that I've apologized, and, like, they know that I've moved on past this shit, and they still hold it against me, then it's like, okay, well, at that point, like, there's fuck all that I could say or do that would remedy that. There's nothing that I could fucking say or do that would convince you that I, like, oh, well, Swagta is totally vindicated in my eyes. It's all good. All is forgiven, old friend. No, not really. Yeah. Thank you for listening. If you want to talk to me about this in the comment section, I'm going to be up for, like, I don't even know. I might just stay up for the rest of the day, because it's fucking, like, 8 a.m. now, so it's kind of late to hit the hay. And I have a video I gotta make. I have some shit that I gotta prepare. Nobody cares about that. That's insignificant compared to what I just talked about. But still, I have shit to do, so I'm going to be up for a bit, or maybe throughout the whole day. If you want to ask me about this, or, like, express how you feel, and just talk to me about that, you can do so either on Twitter. You can send me a DM on Twitter. They're open. Just slide in my DMs. Be good. Or you could leave a comment on this video. And by the way, the reason I'm putting this video up on my second channel is because, like, there's no fucking way that this would be good on my main channel. I don't mean, like, as far as, people receiving it goes. I mean, like, as far as YouTube goes, because this is a pretty fucking out there topic. This is really not suitable for my channel performance. It's gonna fucking tank it. I'm sure of. But I will tweet this video out. I will notify people that, here's what I said, and here's what I did, and here's how I feel about it now. Here's me addressing it. If there's anything you think that I should address or talk about, I may do a follow-up video, but don't hold me to that. I might not do it. It all depends on, what I left out, if anything. But yeah, thanks for listening. I hope you have a good day or night. I don't know, whichever. Take care.